I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Zoeys Extraordinary Playlist After Show here on AfterBuzz TV, and I am your host and Zoeys Extraordinary Playlist super fan, Brandon Hanna. How are you all doing today? I'm sure you're doing great, because we're doing amazing. We're feeling courageous today. I am joined by an amazing panel of co-hosts today. You know them, you love them. Let's get started with voice actor, amazing extraordinaire, Kittie Kaboom.
Thank you so much. I just love when you get hyped. You sound amazing yourself, sir.
Thank you so much. I love being hyped for this show.
We're all hyped.
It's a high energy show.
Excited.
I hope you're ready for it.
Yes.
And of course, we have the amazing musical theater expert, Emily May.
Yay!
Yay.
I was like singing and dancing this whole episode.
And crying.
And crying. I did
Loved
cry
it.
a little bit.
We all were. I was trying to resist the urge to sing, and speaking of singing, we all know that he's getting better at it,
You're
even
getting
though
better. We're learning. We're teaching
his
each
singing
other.
lessons were unsuccessful the first time around.
I don't have perfect pitch yet,
It's
but I'm
Amir.
working on it. I'm working on it.
Progress, not perfection.
You're born within, hon.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
How you doing today, Amir?
I am good. I mean, this episode really, I started crying. I mean, you had Mo's amazing story. We had Mitch. I mean, I was really in it.
Yeah.
I was in it for the long haul.
So many tears.
So many tears. We have a lot of tears and emotions to unpack for you on today's episode, and we've got a great one for you. Mo, he feels like the great pretender. There's a lot going on inside Mo's life, and we're going to unravel all of that. And of course, we even have Joan struggling with the end of her marriage. And we're introduced to a new character of Bonnie, which I am very intrigued by. I don't know about all you, but I really enjoyed seeing this new character, Bonnie, in the mix. And of course, for our special segment, we're bringing back our own internal musical monologues where we talk about our own songs of courage and facing your fears. I cannot wait to get into that. That is one of my favorite things on this show now, all thanks to Emily. And of course, in celebrity news and gossip, we have Alex Newell talking about being himself in a new interview that you're not going to want to miss. And we're going to get into all that. But before we do, let's just get into our overall thoughts on today's episode.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this episode was where I felt like they could focus on one moment with Mo and Mo's struggle, and it was so enlightening. It was a story that we needed to see, that's so important to see on television, because there's so many individuals out there that have this feeling of not being welcomed and loved and accepted. And so it was a beautiful episode that had beautiful music, and then you're also having the family dynamics, unravel as well, and Mitch's struggle to just communicate and be a part of the family. That was heartbreaking, and I think it was a beautiful episode. I feel like the writers and the team finally found their groove in the fourth episode.
Absolutely. And to piggyback off of that, I'm a queer Muslim myself, so growing up in kind of a very religious household, it was really hard to express and be more feminine, and I probably couldn't wear this jewel tone growing up. So I really liked seeing Mo's story, and it was so cool to see that clergy and, even mosques, temples, churches are really becoming more open-minded and realizing that gay people are not 10 people. LGBTQ people are in the millions. So I think it's nice that a network like NBC is kind of jumping on board. And it's not pandering. It's not like, tortured character. It's a powerful character, and it was really lovely to see.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the overall feel of the show. I did respect the fact that they had that duality with the struggle here, but also the struggle with Bonnie, the struggle with Mitch. Everybody was just trying to find their own footing. And I think you make an excellent point, one that I had not considered. Religion is oftentimes thought of as very stringent, very almost militant in terms of their beliefs. You are this, then you're okay. If you are that, then you're not okay.
Absolutely.
And I would never join an organization, religious or otherwise, spiritual of any kind, that did not support all people being who they need to be for their own selves.
Sure.
So I love that I had not even, that's dope, because I just shifted my paradigm quite a bit, that they brought that into the storyline and made it a piece of his history. It didn't have to be. Like, he could have gone off into another organization and been like, oh, they shunned me because whatever reasons. But this is him loving the Lord and saying that the Lord loves me and everybody else just the same in spite of what you may feel about that. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty
Wow,
cool.
I shifted your paradigm. I'm putting that on my LinkedIn profile. I shifted her paradigm. Yes, Kittie. Yes.
My paradigm got shifted, boo. I appreciate you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I really did love the exploration of faith in this episode.
Yeah.
And Zoey, she starts reading all these books to try to learn more because she wants to be of better help to her friend in Mo. And I really enjoyed the effort that she put in. And this show, I think, really does a good job of tackling all these different areas where you have one character who's really religious and another one who's not, and one person who is gender fluid and one person who's not, but they're all trying to understand each other better, which is really what it's all about. We're all very different people, and I think all these characters making these efforts to understand one another better in a show that's really about communication between these people who had a really hard time communicating for different reasons, whether it be emotional or societal barriers or even a physical illness. With Mitch, we do see them overcoming these barriers of communication in really different and unique and creative ways.
Yeah, and I feel like with Zoe's power to be in tune with other people's internal songs, that is just another way for her to connect and help other people. And we see this episode really showcases that in a powerful way, that she can really use it for good. And I think that makes this show unique and special.
As do I. And I love the kind of theme of taking a leap of faith, right? So you mentioned that she did her own research in order to better relate to these people that she genuinely is starting to care about. But I also got the impression that she did it for herself as well. When she was talking to her mom, she was like, I had no idea that you were this into that. And her mom made a very good point, one that kind of struck me, talking about being a mom myself. I've kind of shoved or attempted to shove down my son's throat what my beliefs were, and then leave it to NBC to point out to me that is not my job. He is to be whoever he chooses to be and have great beliefs in whatever moves him in his direction. So I'd like to think that Zoey was not only looking to be a better friend, but also a better person overall for finding like a higher power.
Do you think it's because parents don't maybe know always the best? Like, is that kind of what it could be? Like, sometimes parents want to kind of shove our beliefs down into our children's and kind of we know what's wrong and what's right, but sometimes they have to figure it out on their own. And I thought it was great that the mom kind of knew that.
Exactly. That's what I appreciated so much, the fact that she was just so cool about it. Like, that wasn't my job. That wasn't your dad's job. I think that when there comes time for spiritual awakening, if in fact that crosses your path, that should be your road to take. And she's absolutely right. So no, for me, it's not about judgment. Like, I don't side-eye my own baby. Like, you need to be loving the Lord. That's not my place. I mean, I'd love to be able to say that too, because I love the Lord, but that's not, if he believes in Big Bang Theory, it'll take a deep breath, but it'll be like, that is your road to walk. That is your journey to take. And it's dope of NBC to kind of shed that light on my brain. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't get that before, but
I mean, I love I know this is like later in the episode, but I love when they have that mother-daughter moment, because at a point, like, your kid is an adult and they are going to make their own choices, but you just hope that you gave them the foundation to make the right choices that are right for them.
Right for them.
And however they're building their relationships with other people and, fostering their passions and stuff like that, you hope that they choose what's best for them. And I feel like this was a really authentic mother-daughter moment. And, the Maggie, the mom, gave her Zoey a moment to say, you're gonna make mistakes. I'm not here to judge, but just like, hey, be a little careful.
And as a parent, it's hard not to judge.
These are your kids,
right? You just want what you feel is the best
to not like insert yourself into.
Oh my gosh, I shared with the panel earlier today, guys, about how judgy of a mommy I was at the best stories. But it helps me to see that, to say that out loud and see and hear how ridiculous I am. It helps me to kind of scale back and go, okay, maybe that wasn't the best.
Your intention's always good. I think that Maggie shows that. Like, her intention is so good. She always wants to kind of be there for her children, but she doesn't want to step on them. And them going through this kind of traumatic experience with their dad, and even seeing Mitch kind of being kind of fully functioning was even hard for me to see, let alone their kids. So I thought they did a really good job with that. And people are on the live chatter saying the fact that that's why it's a dramedy, because you have the drama heavy on the drama.
Balance each other out.
They do, and then we're cracking up in the very next scene.
And then I'm bawling on the floor.
I know, they do such a good job. Like, who would have thought we would be talking about religion? This religion and sexuality and fluidity and orientation is not an easy topic. I mean, I get regularly said that I'm going to hell on Instagram. People just slide into my DMs.
Oh, baby.
And I'm fine with it, because I've chosen to be public with being a queer Muslim, but it's a lot to take on, and I'm sure all of the support that Alex probably gets, there's probably people that are like, stop dressing like a woman.
Yeah.
So I think it's a double-edged sword. So I think NBC, who would have thought? I mean, I guess we both said that, because I don't know why in my head I just think Hulu, Netflix, I don't think NBC, so they did a great job.
In general, like in my mind, I'm just like, when I go to church, I get these moments, and I'm supposed spoken to. So for me to be watching like a half-hour sitcom, dramedy, it just doesn't. I don't know. It would not have equated the two. So I am in complete. I'm just excited that
it's a pleasant surprise.
It is a very pleasant surprise. That's where I was going with it.
There you go. I got you.
And don't
Kittie.
nobody slide in my DM telling me to go to hell, but I'm a black woman, so I can't even fathom what that must be like. I love you.
Thanks, I love you too. Everyone's being really nice on the live chat, by the way. Ivan's being very lovely. Chloe, Carter, everyone's saying they really support and love me, and that's very nice. It's not about me, it's about Mo.
No, but you're pretty delicious. You're pretty awesome.
But this is why it's so important to have shows like this,
Right.
because there's maybe a little boy or a little girl that is out there that is like having these feelings, doesn't know how to express themselves, and is struggling. And so it's important to like see representation on television.
And they might be watching it with their families, which is great, because there's no cussing, there's not really a sex scene. It's like, this show is family friendly, which I think is great.
I do too. So. And they can always side-eye their parents if they're not being supportive. Like, you see what Mo is going through.
So kudos for like having this type.
Damn right.
And you got to be able to sing, honey. You got perfect pitch, and you can sing in that way.
Sing it.
Yeah, this show really does a great job of balancing these heavy themes along with the comedy and the drama and everything. And I even love the use of the physical metaphors. Like, we had the literal making lemonade out of lemons in the past. And in this episode, we have when Zoey finds her faith, she gets the bullseye on the dartboard.
Yep.
And then before the priest or the clergyman, he got 3 bullseyes in a row.
Pastor Steve.
Pastor Steve.
Gotta love that.
I thought he was God himself. I was like, is this a God incarnate? I was like, what's happening?
I mean, 3 bullseyes in a row. I was starting to question it.
At least a prophet.
He didn't even break a sweat.
Yeah.
At least, right?
Well, I would totally hang out with Pastor Steve.
He's
100%.
She almost makes the priest, too. I was like, uh-oh.
Calm down.
Uh-oh.
Exactly.
Well, this episode really is all about Mo, and I want to get into Mo and how we get introduced to Mo feeling like the great pretender with that musical number to start off. And we hear Mo sing a lot in this episode, and it starts off from Mo feeling sad to Mo finally coming out and being courageous at the end. And where on this journey did you feel like it impacted you the most? For me, I think it was at the very end.
Oh, yeah. For me.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, she took it to church. He took it to church, and I knew he would. Like, his voice is obviously, it's curated.
Pitch.
It's perfect pitch.
Perfect pitch.
And he clearly has been singing his whole life. So to assume that he wouldn't be able to kill any number, is ridiculous. But singing in the church is always just makes me very, very happy. My heart.
And some people didn't get up, so they did a good job showing kind of some homophobic people, or because I think it's sometimes shows go too far left and they go, everyone supports it.
Right.
That's
now
not the
we
fact.
love you.
That's not the fact. Some white lady was in the back like this. So I was like, great, she got that poor extra got the worst job.
Oh no.
Yeah,
But
so that's
she's
good.
like, this is how I feel.
So I saw the creators of Zoe's tweet that the photo that he had from church as a kid was really him singing in church.
I
loved that personal touch. And the conversation with Zoey and Mo, where he's talking about just not being accepted and feeling ashamed and wanting to hide and moving from church to church and not feeling accepted. It got me. That conversation got me, because I feel that people have these conversations every single day, and people feel lost and not connected, and people feel not loved. And this was such an authentic conversation, and it didn't even need any music.
It really didn't. You're right. Yeah.
It was, it was Zoey reaching out and just having an authentic moment of friendship with Mo and just saying, hey, I'm here for you.
When you go from church to church because you're not accepted, I can't imagine.
And those
what
are
that would
God-loving
feel
people. Like your whole religion, and that's what I never got with. My parents started a mosque and people turned on them. And it was like, I never understood that if God is love, and even your reaction, your emotion is so real, because we all are looking, like, I love God, I believe in God, and I go to, Eid prayer, which is the end of Ramadan. Like, I go and I'm around Muslims, and they're not always the most supportive people, but I think what Mo said was beautiful, was I want a sanctuary. It's not about always being around people that fully co-sign every decision you make, but I thought that was so beautiful. And
but feeling safe, and feeling like in a community and a part of something that is bigger than yourself, but you can still feel a part of.
Of course.
I mean, I grew up going to temple and shul, and like, we're still dealing with issues where, you know, sometimes there's moments of, you know, of hate and anger. And so this like really resonated with me because people go through it all the time.
And if it isn't religion or spirituality or whatever, I mean, take your pick. Everybody wants to feel safe. Everyone wants to feel validated.
Exactly.
I think this episode did a great job of doing both, underscoring that validation is important for everybody. You know, Oprah always telling us, y'all, everybody need to. I had to go to big Oprah. I had an aha moment there. But that is the truth. We all need to have a safe place. We all need to feel like people out there are not side-eyeing us simply because we don't fit into what they see as normal. That is ridiculous. Safe spaces are so necessary. And I think the more these conversations happen, the more the Me Too's and the hashtags love yourself and whatever LGBTQ, like whatever makes you different should actually be applauded as opposed to people saying you are not one of us. As if, who the hell are you?
Remember, who's telling you? I always tell people, I'm like, who is the one telling you you're not good enough?
Right.
And I think that's why this show is so powerful, because it a lot of people will write it off as, oh, just a musical show. And that's what Brandon52 is saying online. And he's saying it's a great bait and switch. Because you get people that are like, oh, it's like Glee.
It's a musical. No,
it's so much deeper. And I think Glee was such an amazing show. And it also covered a lot of deeper topics as well. And to kind of take that clue and not to just be like, let's just have them sing and spend all this money on Beatles songs, but let's get deeper. And I really liked that.
And I think unless you watch it, you really won't get that. I love the trailers. I think they were expansive and important.
Colorful.
Very colorful. But I don't think you would ever understand the layers that are involved in this show if you don't just sit down.
I judged it. I was like, it's just going to be a colorful show. And just going to be like something fun. But this gets deep.
Oh, yeah.
It totally gets deep.
Which is
Yeah.
dope.
And it's not just faith. It could really be anything.
Yeah.
Here was Mo saying, this is the thing that's most important to me in the
Yes.
world, and I'm terrified that I will not be accepted.
And I'll lose it.
And I'll lose it.
And
Yeah.
that's an
And that's what
awful
resonated
feeling.
with me, because I really felt that on that broader level. You know, like imagine whatever's most important to me in the world, like imagine being afraid to lose that because of who I am.
Absolutely.
Like I would be devastated.
Yeah.
It's devastating, and I not to keep talking about myself, but it really relates. My parents were like, well, you can do whatever you want, just don't present. And I think that Mo's story was it was like, oh, I'm just gonna wear men's clothes, I can still do what I love. But it's like, no, but you're not being authentic. You get to do what you love, but you're being a fraud. So I think touching on that was so nuanced, and you can tell someone in the writer room had been through this.
No question.
That's what I talk about, diversity on and off camera.
Amen.
There it is.
Amen.
You need a writer in the room to be like, oh no, like I get it.
That's not what's happening here.
That
Wait,
nuance.
the term present, I'm sorry, I don't mean to go down a rabbit hole.
No, it's okay. Present, it means like presenting feminine or masculine, like wearing makeup
like
or a wig or maybe wearing a dress sometimes.
Or getting your nails painted
Exactly.
or whatever.
And my parents were like, that's fine, but you're a man, be a man. And I think it's beautiful that Alex Newell is saying, I'm a man, I'm a he, him pronoun, but I can
Right.
present in a dress at the Grammys and kill it.
And kill.
That's dope.
Well, in
Yes,
this
it
episode,
is.
that's why it was important when Zoey found Mo at church. You know, and Mo was very upset and came out and confronted her.
And she said, "Holy
she
shit."
Zoey was like, "Are you dressing like a man?
What are
Like
you
you're not being your true self. You're not being, you know, who you are."
Yeah, but
and
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I think it was the pivotal moment of like Mo finally being confronted with like
His world's colliding.
Yeah, his world's colliding, and you know, it was like Zoey's been kind of interrupting people's like lives,
A
and
little
kind of
judgy,
disrupting
too.
them,
A little judgy.
bit, disrupting them and trying to like insert herself, and so that was this, and that's why Mo got upset. You know, Zoey's inserting herself in a place that she's like, this is my space, I have to, you know, deal with it on my own, and you know,
It does seem a little hypocritical in that once Mo found out about Zoey's amazing talent, not only does she encourage her, but she pretty much pushes her out the door like, girl, you know what's happening here, right? You've got to put yourself in the middle of that. They're singing to you for a reason. Make sure you're...
Oh, yeah, Mo did say that.
Mo
true.
did mention at the end that he was feeling hypocritical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad that
yeah.
he was able to
But she judged a little
realize
bit,
that.
and that's really not to be too critical, but that's kind of cisgender privilege. That's kind of her being like, I'm a straight kind of white woman, and I'm going to kind of jump in and be like, that's not cool because it's not according to how you've been presenting as a confident person. I'm a very confident person, but I've been through a lot. So I think it's really important that people that present confident doesn't mean they're perfect.
By far.
And that's why Mo touched upon that. And I thought that was
Absolutely.
beautiful.
and I think that first scene with her singing "The Great Pretender" was so authentic
Poignant,
and
yeah.
genuine and poignant because you're like, oh, there's a whole other side. 'Cause you always wonder about really confident people. You're like, what's
going
hidden
on?
behind
And
that?
I'm so glad you
that
said
sheen,
that
you
because
know?
it's not confident people. Well, obviously I can't speak for them all, but I can speak for myself. And I love that I have this be out gregarious in your face kind of personality.
Right.
But obviously I have moments of insecurities. I have moments of being afraid. And it makes sense that you would be balanced. There has to be a multitude of things that make up me. I am not just this one side of anything.
Right.
So for people to make that assumption about Mo or anybody else is really just ridiculous. You know what I mean? They should be able to be vulnerable and weak or loud and obnoxious or whatever the case may be. But just as long as you know that genuinely they are who they're like nobody's ever gonna accuse me of being like, well, you know, Kittie, I didn't think that, you know, you were loud enough in that room or whatever. Like nobody's ever gonna say that. You ain't got nothing to worry about. But they might be, you know, when are you ever gonna shut it off? Right? But they don't know. I do shut it off in this scenario of my life. It makes sense to do that. This is another. So anyway, it's complicated, but so is life. And I love that they tackle all these different aspects of it. Like it could go so many different ways, and they allow that. There's so much room for growth in the show.
Art imitates life. I think this show is a perfect example of that. And Ivan is saying, I love what Ivan said. He said, Zoey wanted to help, and we know her power won't let her not help. Which is something that I'd never thought about. I kind of thought, I mean, she could technically ignore it, but she tried with the headphones.
I was about to say, but just get louder.
We talked about it a little bit last week that like she really can't not hear these songs.
Exactly.
And can you imagine having music in your head all the time and interrupting every moment of your life? Like you wouldn't be able to shut it up.
Lady Gaga. I hear Lady Gaga all the time.
That happens to me.
All the time.
All the time.
Stupid Love is in repeat. I'm like, how gay am I?
Joanne is in my head all the time.
Yeah.
So like it's like forcing her to do good in the world. And I mean, it might cause some troubles down the line. We'll probably talk predictions later.
Can I talk to Kittie real quick? So someone on the live chat is saying something amazing.
Yeah.
They're saying, can we also talk about the subtext of the church Mo goes to? Mo goes to a black church. That's a harder place to come out as gender fluid. And it was great that they showed that.
I don't know that I would call it a black church.
It really was. It was
I mean,
choir
TV,
was black,
so of course they had to make it a little bit more streamlined. I don't know what the word would be, more inclusive.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
But yes, I am a Baptist Christian. Okay. So I grew up in a black church. Well, I didn't grow up. We won't get into that. To answer your question, I'm sorry. To answer your question, yes, I gravitate towards, but I'm so excited that I've been learning about different religions. I've been studying Buddhism and learned that is not just a religion, it's teachings. So I'm so excited about weaving different elements of a higher power, whatever you decide to call them, into your life. But yes, make no mistake, baby. I'm up in choir every Sunday singing my little heart out. I can't sing nowhere near what Mo do.
We're all going to go to church.
Yes, Lord.
Take me to church, honey.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, well, this show has proven to be really diverse, and it has something to say to everyone, something that can resonate with everyone that's watching. And I know that's something that I can really appreciate every week when I tune in. And this show, there's so many different characters that speak to you in so many different ways. And before we get into some of those other characters, I just want to take this moment to say thank you for making us the ESPN of TV Talk, and so we could have these awesome conversations about this amazing show. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. So please, if you're watching right now in the live stream, leave your comments and like this video, of course, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to us on YouTube, and if you're listening on iTunes, be sure to give us a positive rating because that really helps. So please go ahead and do that, and we cannot wait to hear more of what you have to say. I'm already loving Ivan right now and some of the other amazing comments in the chat, so keep them coming. And as you
give a little cheerleader next
to
you.
Yeah.
I got you, boy. I got you.
Thank you. Some dancing once again on this table.
There's a hype woman over there. Quietly hyping.
But I do want to take this moment to get into Joan, because we do get a little more with Joan about her struggling with her marriage. She's coming in like a wrecking ball. We got all kinds of thoughts and feelings going on here.
Such a good song.
She's off carbs, but then she's back on carbs because she
all?
deserves
Aren't we
carbs.
all?
We all deserve
We
carbs.
all deserve
It's a love-hate relationship.
It's carbaholics, honey. I get it. It's fine.
I mean,
I enjoyed her singing this
Lauren
week.
Graham can throw a baguette or a muffin, whatever
Yeah.
she
broke it on her leg. I was like, wow.
She was.
I don't know. Last week I enjoyed her singing. I did, but I don't think it was the right song necessarily for her to kind of just like
Too
get out.
auto-tuned.
Yeah, but this week I was like, okay, Joan, I see you, little Miley out there.
Little Miley Cyrus.
Right.
And she
me, I really
turned
enjoyed
that
that.
poor extra. I think she got whiplash. She turned that poor girl on her neck was like. So she really got into it, and I liked it.
Well, I love
Yeah.
like the spinning, like the chairs. Like that's why you
Yeah.
don't have hanging chairs at work because who knows, your boss might come and just swing, and then you're like,
I think that'd be kind of fun.
yeah.
And here, no question.
Yeah.
It'll be so much fun.
I feel like this was Joan. We thought finally. It just shows that like her struggle isn't over. It shows that she is still gonna, she was like holding on to the picture frame and like yearning.
Charlie sucks. Too.
Yearning and hurting. And Charlie was horrible. And so,
but we all have an ex that is horrible that we still miss just a little bit.
That's true. So she and like
I don't miss mine at all.
Me neither. I was like, I thought about all my bosses that I hate. I was like, no.
Wow, Brandon got real.
Right? He's like, not me.
No.
not
She
at
threw a
all.
stapler at me, honey.
Oh, whoa.
That's a
Oh,
boss. I'm
shit.
talking about like a lover, like an ex.
No, I'm good.
Wait, your boss threw the stapler? Oh, I thought you were your ex.
Oh,
No,
my
no.
God.
No, but listen, a bitch knows how to duck.
Okay.
It's fine.
Oh
You
goodness.
didn't get me, bitch.
Nope.
No, but I
love
like how they're kind of showing this like bad boss kind of taking
Yes.
charge and having this like really kind of great rock out moment. I like it. I wish I could do it.
And
at
she
work.
loves, I think she really loves Jane. I think she's really
Yeah.
vibing with her.
She
and-
is,
Yeah,
yeah. I think they're gonna build, and grow and foster a deeper relationship because she doesn't have any female friends at work, and so
They don't have any female.
I know, they don't have any female-
That
She
is
said that
only
once.
She and Jane.
It
So
feels,
there's that.
It feels like Joan is still making these backhanded comments
She
to
is,
Zoey
definitely.
to remind
That's
her, like,
his
I'm
way.
still your boss,
Right,
but like
right.
we're kind of cool.
hey, we'll still get those martinis after work, but you're not.
Yeah.
Like we're not that tight.
But don't interfere with my marriage ever again. But
Yeah,
thank you
but
because
thank
this
you.
is what's best.
Yes,
but also
exactly.
stop.
Also stop. Yeah. So that's like the funny, like they put in the seriousness of like of her being sad over her marriage, but also like those underhanded kind of comedic
It wouldn't be
moments.
dope
and
without the
lines.
zingers. You gotta
Yeah,
have
you
the
need
zingers.
them.
Gotta have the
zingers. So
and
it's
then the
well
way
written.
she delivers them is so great. The deadpan face. Yeah, so you totally interfered in my marriage, and that was horrible. But thank you for that.
Yeah, here's a muffin.
Right, exactly. And enjoy this carbs because I can't have any because I'm on some other stuff that I'm not really happy about. But thanks anyway. Okay, bye.
But
it was just a stream of consciousness nut job.
But she does that character really well. If
She
you watch
does.
Gilmore
She does.
Girls,
Oh,
whenever
Gilmore
she was
Girls, yeah.
interacting with her mom, it was that. It's Joan.
It's
It's
that
literally Joan.
comedic, yeah.
Yeah,
But I
deadpan.
loved
Love
how Zoey made up for it in the end and like sent the cake
Yeah.
to
Oh, that was cute.
to Joan and was like,
Sure.
hey,
liked that.
it's the seventh day and God rested and you get to have some
Yeah.
carbs.
Was it a
And
Costco cake? It looked like a sheet cake. I was not mad at it.
I was about to say Costco
This-
cakes are
good
everything,
production
baby.
design there.
I
This
love
this
them.
whole episode was really Zoey finally taking full advantage of her powers
I agree.
and going the extra mile to help
Yeah.
every single person in her life.
Exactly.
And even if it's like, and there's these dots that connect them, like she got the cake from her brother's
brother helping,
party
yeah.
and him helping the dad, and then she puts a biblical reference on there that is from something that she learned from helping Mo.
Right.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Look
So
at
it's
you,
all connected.
Brandon.
Yeah, it's all
Yes.
connected.
It's all
I think
connected.
that. I
Very
think
connected.
And
that.
helping one person helps you affect another, and so on.
Pay
and
it
so
forward, Brandon.
Yeah,
And I feel like
exactly.
Zoey, I think you're right there that Zoey is having, it's like, so she's helping other people, but it's a ripple effect that like her brother's learning a little bit more about like patience and compassion and understanding and helping his dad and helping his wife and
Because he was kind of a jerk in the first episode.
kind of the first few episodes and like the brother was like, oh, the wedding tape, and like shares it with his dad again, and it just shows that like you can help other people find compassion and understanding. You just have to be open to it.
And you can help yourself because there's
Through
no
that process,
question
yeah.
that
Yes.
all of this helping she's doing. There's no way that she goes home and isn't introspective about her own existence.
Well, I hope so, because I feel like you have to. I think there is going to be some type of episode down the line where it's going to be introspective, and she's going to have to look at herself and her own choices in
Yeah.
her
Ooh.
life.
I mean, she done read the Bible.
And-
She gonna
girl.
sing to
She's
herself?
doing-
Singing to herself?
How dope would that be?
In the mirror, she'll sing to
Yes,
herself.
she'll just be walking
That
past
might
the
be a
mirror like-
prediction.
I want to see that.
Yes,
Yeah, that's my
I
prediction, definitely. You hit it on the head.
But yeah, speaking of this ripple effect, we're introduced to this new character, Bonnie. And of course, Zoey helping Bonnie ultimately is what helps Mo get the courage to go back to the church and fully embrace who he is, which I thought was really great. And I'm really interested to see where they go with this Bonnie character.
Yeah. Bonnie from the Bahamas.
Yeah. Bonnie really wants to go to the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at Bonnie.
Such a sweet character.
She's
Yeah.
delish, but I have to say, keeping it 1,000, just be transparent with
yes,
y'all.
yes, please do.
That door opened, and my little judge, the judgy in the back that I be trying to quiet, was like, "Oh, she gonna be dirty, and she gonna look crazy." I thought she was gonna come to the door and just be like, "I stay in the house, I go nowhere, I just pick my nose." And she's fine. Clearly, she cleans her butt, she changes her clothes, she brushes her hair, Kittie. I just hated that I even went there with it.
Yeah.
So when she showed up, I was like, "Kittie, why would you think that?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just thought
But
you'd
you're
be
being honest about
gross."
your judgment. I think
I
a lot
thought
of
she was gonna be
people,
gross.
when it comes to mental health, like think that you're not functioning. Like, but I mean, again, I feel like this episode's like therapy for me. But
Yes.
I didn't leave the house for
really
2
is.
weeks. So when I was deep in the closet and I was suicidal, I didn't leave the house for 2 weeks, and I was fully functioning, wearing clothes, and no one even in my house noticed.
Right.
So I think that like a lot of times with mental health, people see like kind of crusty and you can't what. But I was looking cute. And nobody
I
knew
love
how
that
in
you're
pain I
saying
was.
that because I didn't even attribute it to mental health. And hello, I'm not trying to like out myself completely.
No, you're very honest.
But
Love
just
it.
so we're clear, I got diagnosed with depression and anxiety years ago. And the fact that my doctors have always been like, "But you never give up. Like you put your clothes on and you do what you got to do." And I'm just like, what does that look like? I don't know. What do you mean, like not get out of bed or
Yeah,
what
like,
are we
what's
talking?
that level?
Right.
Yeah,
What does giving up
exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
Because I was raised in such a way that I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put my mama name. She wasn't having that. There's no like sleeping past 10 o'clock and
People
all
of
that.
color, get up, get it together.
Right, we about to clean this house. I done put the gospel music on. I don't know what is going on with you, but I'm gonna need you to get it together. So that's not even something I think about. I just put one foot in front of the other because that's how I get down. But that doesn't mean I don't have the breakdowns. That doesn't mean that I don't have, whatever goes along with anxiety and depression.
Yeah, I mean,
So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Kittie,
That's
yeah.
beautiful.
We
that
love
you
each
guys
other.
are sharing that. I feel like we're really like learning about
Yeah.
a lot about each
I
other.
mean, I've had to give
tonight.
myself my own pep talk. Like
Yeah,
that. I yelled at
exactly.
myself in my car. I go, "Get it together, Hannah. Get it together.
Come on.
Come on."
Hey, there's days where
done that, yeah.
I'm like, okay, I spent way too much like in here. I gotta get out.
Right.
I gotta
Yeah.
like see people. I gotta talk to people.
Girl,
And
yes.
sometimes half the battle is just going out and being open and talking
Yeah.
to people
If
about
you
it.
listen to your brain
Just
all day,
opening
you
the
will
door.
be
Goodness.
nuts.
You will go
Opening the
crazy.
door. And so I feel like
Yeah.
this moment with Zoey and Bonnie, it was a lead up. So you have
Yeah.
like, nope, she's not going to open the door. She's
Nope.
not going to open the door. She's not even going to answer. But like Zoey still hears the song and she knows she's struggling. And the fact that Zoey kept going and saying, "You know what? I'm going to keep talking to her," because sometimes you don't know the people that are silent and the people that are quiet need the help.
Oh, yeah.
And
What they're
not,
going
and what
through.
they're going through, and they're not going to reach out. And so this was, even though there's a song, and even though
Yeah.
it was kind of funny that like this person is like locked in this room, and it's like
The song that they chose.
yeah,
kinda
the
makes
song that they
levity.
chose is kind of funny, but in the back end, it's very serious, and people go through it all the time.
Absolutely.
And-
People think shut-ins are funny or hoarders are funny, but if
It's
you've
not
ever
funny
watched
at
the
all.
show
It's
Hoarders,
not funny
it's
at all.
sad.
Deeper
It's
level of
so
of a
sad.
disorder.
It's really
there.
not funny.
Heartbreaking.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh my goodness.
And even when she said, Emily, when she was like, "Oh, I'm afraid of heights," I was like, "Oh, come on, like you can't do it." But then she was like, "Let's
she
walk
came
to the
out,
door,"
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But she came
Baby
out and
steps,
and the
baby
fact that
steps.
Bonnie trusted Zoey and said, "You know what? So Zoey's like, why don't you walk a little bit further?" And the fact that she's like, "Okay, I've gone this
Right, the
far.
first time
I've
out,
gone this
though,
far.
that's
The first
big.
time out, that is huge." And I liked, again, we talked about faith in this episode and facing your courage. And so you have Bonnie who faced her fear of just like opening the door is scary enough,
Yeah.
and then the fact that Mo saw that this was a miracle in itself, that Zoey is like helping,
But Zoey didn't know it was a miracle, which was crazy
No.
because Zoey
Right,
didn't
she's
know.
like, "What do
She's
you
like,
mean?"
"Whatever." She came out of her house, and he's like, "No, this is a miracle. Like I'm gonna get my wig
Exactly.
together.
Exactly.
I'm ready to sing in church.
I'm
Like, that
gonna
was
get
it.
that
a
moment
slight beat.
changed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
Get
going
my
to say the
wig,
exact
boo.
same thing. That
Yes.
Zoey almost doesn't even realize how powerful she is and the impact that she
No,
truly
she
has on
doesn't.
people
She
yet.
doesn't.
Pretty cool.
And she didn't even recognize that this was a miracle. And Mo said it was going to take a miracle to get me to church, and that's what this is.
That was the
Yes.
miracle.
And she's
Yeah.
using her powers for good
She
and not
is.
evil.
And Kittie, speaking about using your powers for good,
Yes.
Brandon52, not this Brandon, another Brandon
one.
online, is saying, "I feel like Zoey will tell Joan about her power at some point. Maybe Joan and Mo will be on her side." That could be cool. cool.
I'm scared to think.
Girl,
what
girl. It's like Destiny's Child, honey.
Joan-
They're getting back together.
I don't know. That's a leap.
I don't
I
know,
like
that's a
that
leap.
he
I
would
like
even
that,
think.
though.
Right. I would
Cool.
never
Yeah.
imagine Joan to be
Do you
let in
think-
on.
You heard it here first.
There we
If
go.
it happens.
Predictions.
So there was the trailer, and they were talking. It kind of seemed like she might have a duet soon.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm
So
looking forward
I'm
to that.
Gonna
wondering,
get a
does
duet.
Simon hear? Does he hear the power? Does he have a similar?
No, the duet was between
Well,
her brother and the
Will it be a
wife.
bunch of duets?
There's
though?
a bunch of
Maybe it's a
duets.
bunch of
So
duets.
maybe there's like some like I don't know. I know we're getting into
This is all
predictions,
very
but
interesting.
Right, but
Let's
we
save it
don't
for
know.
the end.
Sorry.
We're
We
so
got so
excited.
excited.
We're so excited. We
It's-
love this show
We
so
have to,
much.
Clearly.
we have to muster up the courage to wait until the end
Yes.
so we can talk about
Good
courage
thing I can't binge this
in our
thing.
special segment
Yes.
for this week. It's our own internal musical monologues where we're going to talk about songs of courage.
Yes.
Yeah, so again, we talked about this throughout this episode. There was moments of courage. There was trying to overcome fears. And so I want to talk about what your song is when you are facing your fear or when you just need a little, like, extra courage. So my song is, and this is a spiritual song as well. Lauren Daigle is like one of my favorite artists. And so she sings You Say, which some of her lyrics are beautiful. And so it talks about all of these like internal voices that she fights in her head, all the negative voices that like
we all?
overcome all of us.
Yes.
And so some of these lyrics are beautiful. She says, I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am because I need to know.
Nice.
You say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short. When I don't belong, oh, you say that I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe.
Oh.
So you,
I'm at church, honey.
Yes.
It's like she's a Christian
word.
artist, and so it's a beautiful song. And I like. It's weird how this song pops up every time I need to hear it.
Amen.
And I know.
Sing all the right things.
So
I'm gonna cry.
I would recommend if you haven't heard it, you should go listen to it.
Most definitely.
Yeah,
I love
so-
that.
What's your song that kind
I
of builds your
decided
courage?
to go with India Ari. I've always been a huge fan.
Never a mistake.
Yes,
Never a
indeed.
mistake. Never.
She has a spiritual kind of aura about her without actually saying, attributing it to anything other than her just amazing self. So, in the spirit of speaking lyrics, real quick, the very first song, the song is called Strength, Courage, and Wisdom. So, there's that. Inside my head lives a dream that I want to see in the sun. Behind my eyes, there lives a me that I've been hiding for much too long because I've been too afraid to let it show because I'm scared of the judgment that may follow. So that kind of runs the gamut of everything we
of
talk
everything
about,
we talked about.
judgment and validation and
Right.
being afraid and facing your fears and taking leaps of faith. So all of those things obviously are interwoven in terms of when you are ready to take that leap of faith, to face your fears, to be the best person that you could possibly be or the best version of yourself. These are the things that are going to become challenges, but you know that going into it. So you know what I'm saying, you power through and you make it happen, and then you're so much happier on the other side. I know I am. Like, it's a scary situation, but when I get there, I'm just like, I did that, bitch.
Yeah,
I did
and
that.
you feel so much better when you
course.
get over that mountain and you just feel like you accomplished
But you
something.
gotta go
even
through.
the little thing.
You
even
gotta
the
go
little
through.
thing.
Yeah.
Do you have a good song?
I'll be
Real
quick. So
just
I got a
real quick.
great one, Brave from Sarah Bareilles. That song.
I love Sarah
it was,
Bareilles.
It was for her friend who had come out of the closet to her. So there's one line in it that really speaks to me. It's about being like a boat and being kind of hit by the waves. And I listen to that on repeat if someone breaks up with me or I have a bad day. So it really gets me through the moment. So
That's
that one is a good way
beautiful.
to face my fears.
Thank you all so
Yeah,
much, you
and
guys. Do you have a quick one?
I do have a quick one, just Hall of Fame by The Script. It's all about mustering up the courage to pursue your dreams and chase your dreams and end up in the
beautiful.
quote-unquote Hall of Fame someday. When you're feeling down on yourself, you need to muster up the strength
We'll all be in a Hall
to
of Fame
chase
one
after.
day.
Exactly.
One
We'll all be in the Hall of Fame.
day,
Yes,
baby.
one day.
So
Well,
please let us know,
yes.
what song you
let us know. Let us know.
you would share that is your.
We're getting
moment
Once
of
Upon a
courage.
Time from when Snow White was in the real world. So that's the song Ivan is
nice.
saying. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
one.
Well, unfortunately, we got so excited talking about Mo today that we are all out of time, but we will talk about that news and gossip next week about Alex Newell and how amazing and brave and courageous he is. But until next time, Kittie Kaboom, where can people find you online?
Find me on IG at Kittie Kaboom, Kittie Kaboom, Kaboom. And on Twitter, I'm Kittie Meow.
And you can find me on all social media platforms at Emily May Heller.
You can find me on Instagram, Amir, AMIR, Yass, _ don't forget the underscore.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at BrandonHanna07. And until next time, tweet at us, Instagram us, let us know your thoughts about the show. We are dying to talk to you about it, and we will see you next week.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me,
Bye.
Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.